This is the 3rd of June of 2020, and I'm going to take a look at the 4 setups I have for the dragon fruit in my front yard. I've got 4 more in the back and a few other experiments of crawling up trees and in buckets and things like that. But you can see the huge number of blossoms that I'm going to have. Or actually, these are the buds here. Also this year, which is the first it's ever happened, you notice all these yellow small blossoms there. I imagine those are not going to make it. They're probably going to drop off, but I don't mind experimenting and seeing how long some of them might live. But from past experience, those drop off. Some people will knock them off to not suck any strength away from the plant. And some will actually, if there's too many flowers, knocks them off to give more energy to the fruit. But I don't think I'm going to have that problem. I've got quite a bit of foliage or vines here that should provide all the energy to the fruit. But we will find out. Everything's an experiment. Now, what I have done is I have 2 different varieties, and I believe this one here, it has a lighter colored fruit, and this one here has a darker colored fruit, and neither one appear to be self-fertile. So I position them next to each other here so that I can swap the pollen. And what I will tend to do, and I might show a video of me perhaps even doing it tonight, because there appears to be some flowers that are going to open up tonight. So that'll be a good showing of what we can do next. But let me show you where I'm referring to. So these flowers here, several look like they're going to open tonight. And these buds grew pretty fast. So what I'll do is I will not take pollen from this flower to go to this flower and then over to this flower, but I will take some pollen here, and if there's no other flowers open, I will store it, and that will be used on other flowers here. So I try to keep the pollen from each grouping of vines to go to another grouping of vines to provide good fertilization. They're all cuttings from each other. I think I started off with 2 plants, and all this came from it. And I'm going to show you the ones I have in the back also. So usually before the flowering season, I will cut it back and make a big pile out by the road and let everybody know I've got some, and usually by the end of the day they're all gone. So that's the way I get rid of my excess. So let me let's show the ones that are in the back. We'll start off with this one experiment here I have on a dead tree. And this is essentially what they would do in the wild. And I think I put about 4 of them go around the tree, and in reality only 1 or 2 of them really took off. And this one actually has a flower developing there and some more here. Again, that one looks like it's turning yellow, so I don't know if that's going to be one that will survive. But we'll go over to the next experiment. And here's experiment number 2. Essentially it was a plum or an apricot tree that died, and so I just cut it off and put a little platform on there, and you can't really see right here, but then I put a bucket on top of it and stuck a bunch of vines in there. And as you can see, this is doing quite well. I believe this is only a couple years old, and a little yellowing, might have to add some magnesium, but you can see that there's some flowers, might even bloom tonight. But this is by far my preferred way to do this if I would have the opportunity to just get platforms and put it up there. There's no trellising, there's very little maintenance on it. This is definitely the way to go if you have the opportunity. Some people will go ahead and stack up some cement bricks, but you know, there has to be somewhat wide in order to keep it from falling over, because this gets very heavy. This, as it is right now, is easily over 100 pounds. And and it did fall over a few months back with a wind. The platform gave way and I had to put some bigger bolts in, and I had to lift it up myself, and I'm not looking forward to doing that again. Okay, let's go to the next place. These are the original plants. This is maybe 4 or 5 years by now. This has been the last one I put right there. Try little experiments, the different type of trellises to use. All of them pretty much a failure. I'll go with what everybody else uses from now on, but at least I can say I tried that. But these are the original ones. I bought two from I think one was from a Lowe's, another one was from a Home Depot, and just planted cuttings from that to the other locations. And as sickly as this little thing is, last year it produced the first flower, so it became the sacrificial pollen donator. And this year it doesn't have any flowers on it at all. So we'll see what happens the rest of the year. But these all are producing flowers. And again, this one probably is going to do tonight. And this one definitely tonight. And again, what I'll do is I'll take one from the skinny vines to give to the thicker vines, and vice versa. And that gives me, I have a pretty good success rate at pollinating, but I also don't take the extra steps of removing flowers to give more strength. But I have adequate fruit, and as long as they bloom, I usually have fruit. I'm pretty lucky at doing that. I've actually had some time lapse at night showing a hummingbird moth fertilizing the flower. Now, I have no idea if it went to another flower to bring it over, and since these are not self-fertile, just having a hummingbird moth fooling around inside the flower is not going to cause it to be fertile. So I'll just end it right here and see if I can attach on the pollinating, which will probably be tonight. Well, it looks like we are going to have some open tonight. This is what I'll be working with about 10 o'clock tonight. A few more may open. I usually wait to about 10 to make sure. That's kind of seems to be the maximum peak time, but it also allows the flower to be receptive for pollinating, where the pollen is dried a little bit and everything's sticky. If you wait too late, say do it in the morning, I have a lower success rate because I think moisture tends to get in there. Doesn't fail all the time, but the success rate is a little bit lower. Let's take a look at the other ones. Looks like we just have two in the back area here. There's a slight chance one or more will open up, but I'll wait till about 10 o'clock. Isn't that a pretty flower? Just waiting. So first we're going to do is collect some pollen from these flowers and take it to another vine. I got some nice clear plastic containers here, and let's keep them together. Inside here. You can see the pollen in there. A little bit more. We have another one here. Adding some more pollen. Okay. It looks like we've got a couple plants here with flowers. These two. And the flowers that we were getting from the front were from fairly skinny vines. more like this one versus this one, which has thicker types on here. So what we'll do is collect some more pollen from this type of plant. Let's set this right here. And we'll collect pollen from this one. And it looks like this flower is going to be the contributor for all the other flowers tonight. Except this one. Okay, so you can see the pollen we have there. So, take a little brush, this, get a little bit of this pollen here. We're going to put it right on the female part of the flower right there. You see we're getting some pollen right in there. And this is the pollen that's going to go on the rest of the plants tonight. And this one is where we took the pollen from all the other ones. It's going to go right on the female part right here. Now, what we're trying to do is put different types of plants together to ensure that we're not using the same plant, because these are all basically cuttings from each other. So this we'll call this the skinny one, and it has number 5 on it. And then we'll take this out front. Okay. We'll take some pollen here. Right there. There we go. This is the advantage of having a lot of vines, so that you have more than one flower open at a night. And I just used up all the pollen that I had from that. So ooh. So, that'll be it for tonight. Please remember to subscribe and share this video to help disabled animals with donated wheelchairs.